whiskey and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, this is Ed with Redneckanize Radio. Appreciate everybody joining us, and we're going live here. Here we go.
Hey there, truckers. Welcome to Redneckanize, all things trucking and then some. Hope you enjoy the show.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, this is Ed with Redneckanize Radio. Appreciate everybody joining us. We're here live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday. It's December 13th. Getting halfway through it. You got, about 11 days till Christmas Eve. So 12 days of Christmas starts now. Hey, thanks for joining along. Check us out, redneckanize.com. This is Redneckanize Radio Live. And here we are here live every Wednesday. Or every weekday. I keep saying that. It's every weekday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You can give us a call, 515-602-9731. It's a call-in radio show just for you, the truck drivers, talking about all things trucking and then some, life on the road, the world of trucking, and the world of the motoring public, talking about how to get around out there. And I appreciate everybody joining us. So, there's a lot of big things going on here in the last couple of weeks. There was a book released about truck driving by a scientist, and it's always good when we see different parts of, like, just you think of trucking as nobody really cares and nobody really focuses on, and then a scientist releases a book and you think, okay, what's that about? But all the scientists sometimes say that, hey, you working people over there, you don't really know what you're talking about. Well, this scientist here, she's kind of like, yes, there is some merit to what you guys are saying, because it's crazy out there the way you guys are being surveilled and looked after, and it doesn't really affect safety. Well, when you think about safety now we just saw that the FMCSA is thinking about changing its emergency response or emergency declaration rules, and that's always a fun little topic to talk about. The the emergency exemptions, that's what we're talking about. So we'll dive into that a little bit, and yeah, it's pretty interesting. So check us out. Don't forget to thank one of our great sponsors, and one of the great sponsors I like to talk about is DPF Regeneration. You can check them out at dpfregeneration.com. Those guys are the ones where you can get your particulate filters cleaned. If you got one of those DPF filters where you got to get it cleaned, sometimes it's, they say every 500,000. I think it's more like every, maybe 250, 350. They get pretty dirty. And everybody says, oh, just do a regen. Well, I'm here to tell you, regens are bad for your motor. That's the worst thing a motor can do, is run at the extra high idle like that, without getting good air flow into it. I mean, the truck just sitting there high idle, you're just killing it. And what happened was, I remember what I started doing the oil samples to try to do the bypass oil filtration and all that. And so I was getting some DPF problems, so I had to do regen, and I did 2 regens in the course of a couple of months. And that, what happened? I did the oil sample. They said, oh yeah, your oil is, you need to change your oil. It's all burnt. Yeah, you burnt the oil, because you do those regens like that, and you're just tearing the oil up. So it's not good for the engine, not good for the motor, not good for the oil, not good for anything. So regens are not good. The regen needs to happen while you're going down the road. That's the best part. And when the engine no longer does that, because the filter gets too dirty, and it'll always come back saying it's not doing the regen. It's not cleaning. The sensors will always say it's not clean. So get your filters cleaned, and then you won't have to do a parked regen, and then your engine doesn't get scorched, the oil doesn't get scorched. So check them out, dpfregeneration.com. Those guys over there know how to handle that stuff. So check them out. And like I said, give us a call, 515-602-9731. We're talking about the emergency exemptions and a new rule that's coming out, and we'll share that. We shared the link to making the comments. There's a commenting period going on right now. So go to regulations.gov and you can leave a comment on the exemptions, FMCSA emergency exemption rule change and what they're thinking about doing, and we'll talk about it. So hang out here, and we'll do all we can to have a little fun and see how you guys are doing. We'll get everything done like that, and all kinds of fun stuff like that. So let's do that. And I don't know, what do you think? What else we got? That's it. Yeah, come on, music, play for me. I love it. There you go. I love this music, and it's always trying to pick some good stuff. And oh yeah, some good TV shows came out, with the new episodes, and it's really fun, and it was exciting to watch. Get your emotions flowing. We'll talk about that a little bit too. So like I said, check us out, Redneckanize.com, and give us a holler, 515-602-9731. We'll see you in a bit.
On the times, they're not in it. Every place it goes is right. Goes all lies near. It stars away from here. Well, you don't know what we can find. Why don't you come with me, little girl, on a magic carpet ride? You don't know what we can see. Why don't you tell your dreams to me? Fantasy will set you free. Close your eyes, girl. Look inside, girl. Let the sound take you away. Last night I only let 'em slide.
We'd like to thank one of our supporters, DPF Regeneration. The folks at DPF Regeneration have always looked out for truckers. Today's technology in big trucks has gotten more and more complicated, especially when it comes to those particulate filters. DPF filters need to be serviced, cleaned, and sometimes replaced, and DPF Regeneration handles it all. They have the knowledge, the network, and the inventory to get what truckers need to stay out on the road making money. Give them a holler at 800-634-3010 or check them out at www.webacem.com. Plain and simple, DPF Regeneration.
Diesel powers, 18 wheels to rolling as I pull it on to the interstate. I've got 13 hours to make my destination, and I don't want to stop to check my weight. There won't be no sleep for me tonight, no. I've got to be hitting Tulsa by first morning light. I'm a prisoner of the highway, driven on by my restless soul. Call me a prisoner of the highway, imprisoned by the freedom of the road.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, this is Ed with Redneckanize Radio. Appreciate everybody listening along. And give us a holler, 515-602-9731. You can also check us out at redneckanize.com, where you'll find links to all of our social media accounts. We got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got Instagram, and we got YouTube. Go subscribe to YouTube channel. Appreciate everybody doing that. Click on there. We got videos directed to the four-wheelers on how to drive around big trucks. And we also got some pretty cool, interesting videos. Currently, right now, the most watched video every single day. It gets like over 100 views every single day. And that's just me simply explaining the power divider, the interaxle differential. And a lot of people, I remember when I first started driving, there was like 3 or 4 different stories about how the interaxle lockers worked, how that, why can't you drive it? The instructor always told you, you flick that switch when you get stuck and don't drive it down the highway with it locked. right? That was always deal. But then the only rule that's actually on the dash, on the little button, it says do not engage during spin out. But other than that, there was nothing written. Nothing in the book ever talked about what you always got told, which is don't flick the switch unless you get stuck, or don't go down the highway. Don't go highway speed with it locked. And both of those were like wrong. So we found out that you don't hit it when you get stuck. You hit it before you get stuck. You hit it when you're getting into an off-road situation where you're going to be having like a lot of traction control issues. You lock the lockers, right? And then I found out, I later on realized there's more than one. There's an inner axle, and then there's the axle lockers that actually lock the axles because of how the differential works. And so, like I said, I got the video explaining that. We got other shows, different episode where we talked about the differential and everything. So it's great. That, and also lease purchase, and the pitfalls and pluses and minuses of all that stuff. So check us out at YouTube, Redneckanize. Subscribe. We appreciate everybody doing that for us. And we'll continue here to talk about what's going on here, what we got. And I was just diving into the new issue of Landline magazine, and their cover story is The Road to Highway Safety. As regulations tighten, crash rates climb. And it says OIDA suggests a new route. And I tell you what, that's a whole new can of worms. You guys want to talk about OIDA and all their influences in the trucking industry over the last 20 years. I mean, I've been truck driving since 1997. And I remember when I first heard about OIDA, and I was like, wow, that is so cool. And then they had all the pictures of them picketing back in the 70s about drivers' rights and respect and all that stuff like that. And then it's like, over the years, regulations seem to get worse and worse. Like they just say, regulations tighten. And then you go and satellite radio became a big thing. OIDA had its own show, Landline Now. Wow. And what you found out is OIDA actually had an office in Washington, D.C. And they had people working there as like, I don't know what you call them, lobbyists, advisors. I don't know what you would say. But then they would get on the radio there and talk about what they're doing. And they said, we actually have a seat at the table. Oh, wow, you have a seat at the table. Okay, then why are the regulations so bad right now? Why are they getting worse? Why are they tightening? If you have a seat at the table and you have an ear where you can actually say, hey, we're doing something, you're not doing anything, okay? Logbooks, worse. ELDs, worse. Okay, hours of service rules, worse. I mean, hell, we actually had a listening session where you could call in. They had a meeting. FMCSA. This is under Ann Farrow. Ann Farrow might have been one of the fairest and most open and transparent. I don't know. She was more transparent than most all the others. At least she went out and talked to the drivers. And I've been to a couple of those meetings that she had with drivers. In these little like press conferences, you would call them, but it was just drivers, right? Especially at the truck shows, she went there. Most other people, they would make a speech and then they would just walk off. She was actually talking to the drivers, and then they were doing the hours of service, and of course the courts came down. You have to change hours of service rules because of all these other organizations like Mothers Against Tired Truckers and all this crap, right? And what do you call they said you got to change the hour of service. They said, well, we're coming up with this rule, we're going to change the rules. And we did that. They came up with the 14-hour clock and all that stuff. So they said, well, and then OIDA sued. That was good, right? They said that's not good, and all that. And they said, okay, we're going to change the rules, but we need driver input. So we're going to have a meeting in Iowa, in Davenport, just down the road, maybe a little less than an hour from Iowa 80, at a hotel in one of those seminar rooms, and drivers are welcome to attend, and we'll have it on like a phone call where you can call in and listen and even participate over the phone. So this was a big deal. It was a lot of fun because you called in and you listened, or you called in and participated, and people are actually there talking and asking questions and debating. And I mean, most of all the comments that participated by truckers were like, the 14-hour clock doesn't work. We are being rushed. A lot of times we get, and it's true, you get to a shipper, they don't care, right? Hey, we'll load you when we load you. Your clock is ticking, right? And then by the time you get loaded, you have to hurry. You have to get down the road and to a place to park before your 14-hour clock runs out. And a lot of times during rush hour, which made it even worse. So you said, you know what? I want to be able to stop and take a break, but I can't because my 14-hour clock runs out. And then when my 14-hour clock runs out, I have to shut down for the night. If I stop and take a break, my clock doesn't stop. Right? The clock keeps running. And all they heard was, I want to take a break, but I can't. That's all they heard. They didn't hear nothing else. They didn't hear anything about, well, the clock doesn't stop. The clock keeps ticking. If I stop to take a break, the clock keeps ticking, and that's bad. But they didn't hear that. All they heard was, I want to take a break, but I can't. And then they said, okay, so we're going to change the rule, and the rule is going to be that after 8 hours, you have to take a break. It's like, that's not what we wanted, but they changed it. And now that's how it is. You know, when they said we're going to put in ELDs, you know, the truckers said, no, that's not a good idea. There's a lot of issues they're going to have with that. And then ATA comes out and supports it. And of course, ATA is not, you know, when you think about like organizations that support certain things, okay, the ATA shouldn't be, I don't know what is ATA stand for, actually. Does anybody know? Is it the Trucking Association or the Truckers Association? And isn't that a good question to ask? Make sure everything's going all right on this end over here. Yeah, it looks good. So just Google ATA. The first thing that comes up is American Translators Association. Yeah, and it's Trucking Association. So the American Trucking Association, which is the website is trucking.org. Okay. So not anywhere in there does it say trucker, right? So that's what it is. It doesn't represent truckers. It represents trucking, the industry. And the American Trucking Associations, all of their funding and all of their participation is all done by big carriers. All the big carriers are the ones who sponsor the American Trucking Association, including, what is it, ABF and all that, all those, and including the Teamsters. Okay. So when you go to the truck show and they've got an ATA has a booth, and it says that we are and then there's some drivers there wearing these fancy shirts and all that, and they're probably union. They might not be, but more than likely they are, and they're the road team, the ATA road team, and all that. You know, those are the enemy. Walk away. They don't care about you. You know, they get taken care of by the big wigs, and you know, some will say that you have to kind of sleep with the enemy to get what you need, and so you have to join the team. But you know, that just represents a small, like not even I would say not even 1% of the trucking industry. Certainly less than 10 of what's going on in the trucking industry. You got owner operators and you got small fleets that make up the majority of the trucking industry, which is amazing too, because you would think that the majority of the industry could dictate the rules of the industry, but that's not how it's doing. The rules are being dictated by people like the ATA and the big companies. They all support ELDs. They love ELDs. Richard Stocking, I don't know if he's still the CEO of Swift's Transportation, but he was doing a little speech, and he said ELDs are great. He said, we can track the driver's time now. When they come in at the end of the day and they still have some time left and they tell us they're done, and we're like, no, you still got time to drive. Keep driving. And that made viral news because That's what we're afraid of. We're afraid of being beaten with a stick to say, keep going, you know, like a mule. Just keep that carrot out in front of you and keep working. We'll tell you when you're done. Well, that's how it's getting now. That's what this book is about by this professor. Keep driving. We'll tell you when you're tired. You know, we got lights flashing, we got seats vibrating, we got sounds going off. We got everything in there to keep you awake. So no need for you to tell us that you're tired. We'll tell you when you're tired. Just keep driving. Don't stop. That's what the book is about. Data driven by Karen Levy, an associate professor at Cornell University. Go ahead and go on YouTube and search Karen Levy trucking. It's actually Robo Trucker. Robo Trucker is the name of the video that it's a seminar that she talked about, and she's doing, I think it's like North Carolina Institute or something like that. But she did a lecture online, and it got put on YouTube, and it's really good because the best part is the Q&A, because you actually have students, young people that have more of a academic mindset, and they're asking questions about the industry, and she's actually answering them really good. As far as, you know, I would go in more detail, but she's giving good answers that support our side, which is that, I mean, well, I'll take that back. She is on the side of, we need more rules to help trucks, to help the truck drivers. And the problem is, as all the truckers know, rules suck, because they only get enforced when the people that are in job, that when they're supposed to enforce them, only when they want to enforce them, they get enforced. Because we know there are rules that protect truck drivers, but nobody enforces them. You know, you can't tell a truck driver to keep driving when he says he's tired. You can't do that, but they still do it. You know, you can't punish a driver when the driver says he's tired, and you say, well, if you say you're tired, then hit the road, you're fired. Okay, you technically can't do that. The rules say that you can't. I mean, I guess the rule is you can't tell them to keep driving, but I mean, that's one of the big things that the courts have been battling is don't punish the drivers if they say they're tired. You know, I mean, I remember I was working as a dispatcher, and there are a lot of drivers that always said they were tired. And I said, fine, go to bed. Right now, at the end of 3 months, come in and sit down and talk. We have an evaluation report that we have to fill out that says you're doing good or you're doing bad. And you tell them you're doing bad. You're always tired. You're not driving your miles. You need to drive better. You need to do better. You need to drive your miles. And you tell them you're below average rating or whatever. Sign here. Okay. In another 3 months, it needs to be better. And if it's not better, then you can be fired. And it's based on performance. Has nothing to do with you complaining. It's just your complaining causes you to have poor performance. So they're like, okay, well, I'll try to do better. And then guess what? They do better. A lot of them a lot of drivers, it's amazing. You know, we always say not everybody's cut out to be a truck driver. I don't think it's cut out to be a truck driver. I said a lot of people aren't trained or don't understand time management and of course calculating how many miles you do in a day or week or whatever. So I had drivers that would say, you know, they couldn't perform. They're always like declining loads. I can't make that. I can't make that. I can't do that time. I can't do that. I can't run the miles. I can't do that. And so then they come to me and they say, man, I'm not making any money. And I said, all right, well then you need to, let me give you some advice. For the next 3 weeks, do what I do what I tell you. Don't do anything unless I tell you to. For the next 3 weeks. And see how you do. I said, don't decline a load unless I tell you to. Don't go home unless I tell you to. And you might think, well, that's kind of harsh and all that. And I said, well, I didn't tell the driver to never go home. I just said, listen, you came out of the house Monday, okay? You don't need to go back home till next Friday, which is you're going to be out, what, 12 days, 12, 14 days? That's it. Okay. You need to stay out that long to get a good groove on, going home every week without actually having a plan. I mean, drivers do get home weekly, but it's because the dispatch knows they're going to go home every week and they've got freight to keep them moving. You've always got freight, and being home weekly as a company driver is hard because you got to work those days. If you want to be home, if you want to leave out on Monday morning and be home Friday morning, you're going to have to run a week's worth of running in 5 days, which most drivers will tell you it's hard to do. To run real hard for 5 days so that you can get a good week's pay, that's hard. I do it. And it'll hurt you. I mean, it's time consuming. So you need to, you buck it up and go. But a lot of drivers can't do that. It takes them 7 days to do 5 days worth of work. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. It's just, you're going to be away from home a little longer. That kind of thing. Or you got to manage your time better, or you figure out, get a load, get by the house, that kind of thing. So, but I told the guy, I said, stay out. 3 weeks later, he comes to me and goes, man, I made a lot of money. I said, I did good. I said, yeah, because you managed your time better. You managed, you ran the runs that you could do without, you need to do a better job at calculating, it's, you want to be able to run 500 miles a day, every day that you're out there. And then when you go home, you're satisfied. So if you can run 500 miles a day, he goes, well, 500, that's not hard. I said, no, it's not. It's not hard. And I pulled up his average for the 3 weeks, and he was running like 650 a day. Because he was managing his time. When he shut down at the end of the day, he got 10 hours. He got up, did what he needed to do, got down the road. And eventually what happens is that when you get freight and all you have to do is you do your pick it up and dropping, in between, and maybe even during the day, or you do a lot of dropping and hooking. A lot of times the dropping and hooking freight is what a company driver loves, and not everybody gets that good freight. A lot of times if you constantly decline freight, as you go to a dispatch office and they'll tell you, we give that drop hook freight to our company drivers, the good company drivers. The bad company drivers, the ones that slack, they're the ones sitting at the customer waiting. Oh, I'm too tired, I can't run it. Well, then go deliver this load and go sit there all day and wait on it. That's what it's kind of like punishment, what they shouldn't be able to do, but they're doing it. But yeah. So the guy's like, man, I'm running good. I said, yeah, because you're doing what the dispatchers, they all know, everybody knows. Everybody that I dealt with in the office had driving experience. Very few of the people working in the office did not have driving experience. The ones in the office that didn't have trucking experience driving, those are the ones that you didn't like, that you didn't get along with, because they didn't understand what you were going through. And that's what it is. That's the tough part. So once you find those guys that had the experience in the office, you got along better with those guys. You could talk to those guys. You can, and a lot of times those guys are the ones that would call you on your bullshit. if you're like, oh, I don't feel like it. Yeah, shut up. We know you're slacking. But yeah. So the rules are getting worse and worse. And that's that's what OIDA was supposed to do, is help us with the rules, but they're not. So we don't know what's going on with that. But FMCSA has come out saying that they want to clarify the applicability of the emergency exemptions. And they introduced this proposed rulemaking into comments on December 7th. And you can, let me refresh this here, see if there's any more comments been made. Nope, not since last night. No other comments have been made. So nice to see my Facebook page get a lot of traffic. But yeah, it's so it's got until like February 6th. So it's 30 days because it's December 7th and it's February. So that's 2 months. So 60 days. And they don't have to do anything else. So this is what they're doing is they're going to be clarifying their applicability for emergency exemptions. What's that mean? Your guess is as good as mine. It means whatever they want it to mean. Okay. So what I didn't realize, and I guess it's okay because, emergency exemptions. Now, I'll just say for record, emergency exemptions are bad for truck drivers because there's one comment on here from a law firm. It allows the trucking companies to do whatever they want during this emergency exemption. Okay. We know for a fact that as emergency exemptions, like when there's a hurricane and the truck driver gets given freight, not only can they drive over their hours, they can drive over their weight, all that stuff. The FMCSA regulations kind of get thrown to the wayside, right? So all of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration's regulations, all the regulations that have been written for your safety get exempted during emergency declarations, right? So what they want to do is they want to say, well, we're not going to allow a lot of the changes, or we're not going to allow a lot of the exemptions, or we're going to change it. And instead of 30 days, it's only going to be like 5 days. But we're still going to allow some exemptions, but also what they're going to do is they're changing the rule to not say that the stuff is mandatory. It's that they can decide what rules they can change and not change. And a lot of it has to do, what I didn't realize is that during these exemptions, these emergency exemptions, not only do they allow like driving over the hours or driving over the weight, but they also like, hey, if the driver doesn't qualify, for some reason, that's okay too. They can still drive. If the driver can't take a test or, the drug test and all that, we'll let that slide for now because we're an emergency and exemption, all that stuff, and a lot of it is inspections, hey, yeah, your tail light's out, but hey, the load's got to go because it's an emergency. So it's okay. The brakes are not within qualifications. Tire treads are a little low. You got a bad tire on there, but that's okay because we're not going to worry about it, which is so funny to me because the DOT, the guys out there running down the road doing inspections, well, they don't do anything anyway. The only time they do anything is during the blitzes that they announce. I think, we all say here that if they really cared about safety, they'd be out there every day, inspecting trucks every single day, pulling, California, hey, you can think bad about it. At least they know, and they're going to tell you, you come over here, you're going to get inspected. You come to California, you're going to get inspected. And I'll fully vouch for that. You will get inspected when you go to California. When you go into those up there in the central and northern California area on Interstate 99, Interstate 5, the weigh stations, not only are the weigh stations nice and pretty and clean, but they actually have garages. They'll pull the whole truck and trailer into that garage, and it's got a walk-in, the oil pit where they can walk underneath there and inspect, and it's got lights and all the stuff to check everything. They will inspect you. Yes, you will get inspected. And you kind of wish more states would be like that. Now we all know why. It has nothing to do with safety. It has everything to do with their revenue. They make money, right? But at least it keeps you on your toes and you see these trucks going down the road and you think to yourself, hey, I got my brakes fixed. I got good tires. I went out and bought new tires. How come these guys ain't got to do that? When my truck's messed up, I actually fix it and do it. Why aren't these guys doing it? Why do these guys get to go down the road with, cracked windshields and missing headlights and, all that stuff, bad tires? You can see stuff wobbling, under the truck and all that. Why do they get to do that? And, you just, stuff like that, it ticks you off. And it's just because nobody's checking. Nobody cares. I mean, I live in Texas and I hate it. because Texas hardly ever. They got weigh stations on the routes that come from the border, like Houston for the ports and Laredo because of the border crossings. That's it. That's the only places that you get stopped. There's other places that stop, but it's the county's discretion. You got up there on Interstate 20, there might be a like one of those. They have it in Texas. They don't actually have a scale house. They just got a pull-off area where they'll set up a pickup truck that has their portable scales and all that. But at least they're out there checking. And some of those counties up there near Tyler and everywhere, they're out there every day. But oh well. There needs to be more of them. There's actually, I saw local police departments. The state of Texas, I think, did that for a while. I don't think they do that anymore, but they allowed the local police departments to actually have commercial vehicle enforcement. And I think somebody sued and said you can't do that. And I don't know if they do that anymore. They might still do it. I'm not real sure. But it was, hey, at least they were checking. At least somebody's checking. And a lot of times you hate it because you're like, well, I keep up with my stuff. I shouldn't have to worry about it. Why are they delaying my day? But they need to be out there checking. Drive down the road and look at the trucks and just know, there's trucks out there shouldn't be out there. But anyway, emergency exemptions, they're thinking about changing that rule, and that we should comment on it. We should tell them. My comment is that there shouldn't be any emergency exemptions. If the rules are meant for safety, then safety takes no exemptions. There are no exemptions for safety, right? Can we just say that? There shouldn't be any exemptions for safety. You can't be the Motor Carrier Safety Administration and say we don't care about safety in the times of emergencies. As you can't say that. It's just stupid. What's the guy's name? The dirty job guy, Mike Rowe. He actually had a saying, because he did a deal where they had him going around talking to a lot of the companies and plants and factories and all this. And of course, every time he goes somewhere, especially to these big plants, he has to have these safety briefings. And it's all, he said every day we would do a different warehouse, plant, or factory, and every single day it was a safety briefing. It was a safety briefing. And it became funny to us because some of the stuff was common sense. It's like, yeah, when there's something in my way, I stop and I move. I avoid it. When I see something where I could fall off of it, I don't go there. I step back. I'm careful. But, they tell you this in these briefings and these videos. And of course, these videos, a lot of them made in the 70s, they're never haven't been updated in a long time. But he's got a point that it's almost like, laughable that we have to be told, watch out, be careful. It's like, we've been being told to be careful by our mothers for, ever since we were 3. So, if you're not careful by now, it's always be careful. When I first started truck driving, I was like, no matter what, I'm going to be safe. You just can't. I would feel so terrible if I made a mistake and it hurt somebody else. Anytime that I ever worked in a warehouse, I was always careful, watching out, saying, hey, I would hate it if I messed up and got somebody hurt. That's what I would hate. Even when I first got into riding motorcycles, one of the things is be careful, because I don't want to get hurt, and I would hate for somebody to be hurt because of me. So I'm always careful, and I always mindful of that. And I just don't understand why you would not be careful. So, driving a car, whatever, looking out for other people, and, looking out for ourselves. And what Mike Rogue said is that we got into this habit of following the safety rules to a T, and it was not It was not looking out for one another. It was looking out for yourself only. And so when you did things, you might have, it's kind of like you were always expected to, I don't know. She said more accidents were happening because people were following the rules instead of following common sense. And it got to the point where accidents were happening. Well, now we see that now. The article in Landline magazine, accidents, crashes, they're actually increasing because the computers have taken over. And so the drivers are trained just to follow the computer. Well, the computer is not perfect. And the drivers are not trained because they're told to follow the computers. And now the crashes are going up. So, and so now emergency exemptions, safety don't matter, and all that. So yeah, what are we going to do? We're the only ones that can change this. We're the only ones that can stop doing it. I always said before, whenever the hurricanes here in the last couple of months, hurricanes came through. Over the years, hurricanes come through. We've been doing this radio show. We tell everybody, you may be told, here's emergency 2020, same deal, COVID, emergency exemptions. You could drive over your hours. We need that freight, supply chain issues, we told drivers here, Redneckanize was do not violate hours of service. That's there for a reason. Okay. If they want those rules to go away for their emergency exemption, then they need to change the rules. They need to change those rules permanently. Because if the accidents didn't go up during COVID, during the exemption, then what the hell were the rules there for the first place? So that's, we know why the rules are there. They're there for safety and for revenue. Okay. When they do an exemption, who are they? I mean, it's not benefiting us. A lot of drivers will tell you it benefits them because then they can drive their time. They can get more money. And, and they can't get in trouble. They can throw that other logbook out the window and just run that one logbook because the exemption allows them to run over their hours. We know drivers do it every day, but that's the rules are not meant for that. The rules are meant for you to drive 11 hours safely every day, 10 hours of rest. And other than that, technically what I said back in the day, back when they were introducing ELDs and they were thinking about, well, maybe we should have ELDs. And I said, how to get them out? Why ELDs are not popular with shippers? Because the driver says, I can't make it. Like, what do you mean you can't make it? I said, I can't make it. The hours that it takes me to get there, it's 12. So that means that I have to run 11, shut down for the day, and then run another hour. So I can't make it. And the shippers don't like that. They like it when a driver can get there in 12 hours. And so that means they're going to go find a driver that'll run illegal. That's what they want. They don't care. They're going to pay the driver to run illegal. And it's not like they're going to tell the driver to run illegal. They're just going to say, I need it here. And you're going to say, yeah, I can do it. That kind of thing. Back in the day, you see it all the time. Hey, I got a load here. It's over gross. I'll run it. Drivers do it all the time. And we got to stop it. We got to stop doing it. You want to get the FMCSA, you want to get the shippers to tell the government to stop regulating truck drivers. You follow the rules, and the rules won't allow you to deliver that freight when they want it. And then they will say, wait a minute, how can that be? I said, well, the way the rules are written, I can't do it. And then they'll start doing it, especially with the money. A lot of them are running cheap freight right now. And it's like, I'm going to run this cheap freight. Drivers, I'm not paying that much for freight right now because I can get drivers to do it cheap. Well, if the drivers would stop doing it for cheap, then they would have to pay more. It's not like they're going to just find, I mean, that's the reason why they're paying less, because there is somebody willing to take it for less. We see it with, and even with like JB Hunt, we know, me and Greg have gone at it with, about like JB Hunt and Swift and Schneider and all them, where they book the freight and then they broker it out themselves. They got their own brokerage firm attached to the big company, right? Well, I mean, they're getting their money, because they're lowballing you. And the only reason why they're lowballing the truck driver is because we know that there's somebody out there going to take it, and they'll tell you, we're not doing that. And it's like, damn, well, I'm not doing it. Well, they'll find somebody to do it, and that's what, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why you book the load and then they call you back an hour later saying, hey, I just found out they're not paying that. They're paying this. Probably because they found somebody to do it for cheaper. And then they're going to tell you that, unless you can do it cheaper, they'll do that too. They might even tell you for sure, like, I'm not lying to you, dude. I found somebody that'll do it for less money. So unless you can do it for less money, I'm not going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to the other guy. And that's, that happens too. So we got to stop doing it for less money, because follow the rules and get your money. That's the two best words of advice I can give, because you can bet the industry will change big time. Because I guarantee you there ain't that many drivers out there that are doing it for cheap. There's some good customers out there paying good, taking care of their drivers because they got good drivers. So if you want to get paid good, you got to be good. You want to get paid that good wage, then you gotta be that driver they want. That's all there is to it. And and like you said, hey, well, they want it in there in 12 hours. Well, a lot of people will do it if they make the money, but problem is they ain't paying no money. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. Redneckanize.com, 515-602-9731. And that was a good little rant. That was a good rant. Let's see. Oh, hey. So yeah, go check out our Facebook page where you can find a link to that regulation and comment. But have you guys been watching Yellowstone? Man, it was a good episode this last time. It was awesome. And just makes you think about things. But other good shows out there, man. Blue Bloods is getting good. It was a good episode last week. Another show that's interesting is George and Tammy, with George Jones and Tammy Wynette. It's kind of I don't know, it may be more fictional than it is real, but it's really, entertaining. Good country music. If you like good old country music, George Jones, Tammy Wynette, it's good stuff. I think it's really the actors singing the music, because the music, George, when the actor singing George Jones, that's not George Jones singing. You can know it. In fact, some of the songs I never heard before, so I actually had to go on Spotify and search and say, did he really sing that song? And then you find out, yeah, he did. That's a George Jones song. And because one of the songs, according to the story, was written by Tammy Wynette's ex-husband. And one of the things that Tammy Wynette's ex-husband wanted, he wouldn't allow the divorce to go through. Like, he was holding it up. And one of his main, and she was like, I gave you the house, I gave you the bank account, I gave you the car. What more do you want? And he said, I want George to sing my songs. And that's all he wrote songs, and he wanted George Jones to record them. He already recorded one, and he just, I don't even know if he did the most of them, but the end of the second episode, which just came out, new episodes are every Friday. And the new episode just came out. The husband was blackmailing Tammy. Like I said, I don't know if it ever really happened. I don't know. According to this fictional story here, Tammy Wynette actually had her like her first kids or her like she was pregnant with her third child in Alabama, and she tried to leave her then husband, boyfriend, whatever, and her mother had the kids taken away and had her declared unfit while she was still pregnant. And they took her to the psych ward and hooked her up and did the electric shock treatment while she was pregnant. And she said it had all kind of, medical problems with their baby and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, I said, that really happened? I don't know. And then I go online, and of course there's nothing about it. So I don't know if it's real or not real. So I don't know, but it's pretty, gut wrenching to watch and everything, but it's good show. So check it out. George and Tammy. It's on Paramount Plus too. I love Paramount Plus. If you upgrade to the Showtime set, Paramount Plus, man, next Sunday, this coming Sunday is going to be 1923 coming out with Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren playing I think she's Irish. She plays an Irish woman that is, married to Dutton. So that's going to be fun. It's the Dutton, the Dutton story, the Yellowstone origin story. And then new episodes of The Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone. That's a good show. And of course, like I said, Blue Bloods. And what else came out? Well, there's one show I've been watching on there. It's called Your Honor, and it's that what's the guy's name? Michael Cranston. Is that the guy from the lead actor in Breaking Bad? So he's in this show called Your Honor, and he plays a New Orleans judge, and it's pretty good. There's a crime family involved and all kinds of stuff. So it's pretty interesting. I started watching it just because it had him in it, and it's of course it's on Showtime, so it's gory kind of. It's got all the the blood and the violence and all that stuff. So it's really interesting. You kind of have to pay attention and that kind of thing. So check that out. Next week on the 21st or 22nd, the new season of Jack Ryan. So season 3 of the Jack Ryan series on Amazon. It's got that John Krasinski playing Jack Ryan. So that's coming back. And the new episodes will drop on December 21st, 22nd, something like that. It's like next Tuesday. So that's coming up, and that's going to be exciting. Or not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. My mind's all messed up about where's my calendar? So yeah, the 20th. Yeah, a week from today. The 20th or 21st. One of those two. Yeah, next week. So that's exciting. And then on January 15th, the what do you call it? Mayor of Kingstown season 2 starts on January 15th. And then it hasn't been announced yet, but Reacher, the series on Amazon that had the Jack Reacher story. So what is it? The first season was about the first book. This next one, second season, is going to be about the 11th book. If I'm reading it correctly. I got to go in and check out the books. I haven't read any. I've never read any of the books. But now that the series has started, I'm kind of excited to go and check out the books. But that's not before I go check out these other books. Like I said, there's these scientists that wrote books about trucking, and I want to go check those out too. And those will be interesting. And then there's the article that I just saw in Landline Magazine, The Road to Highway Safety, Regulations Tighten, Crash Rates Climb. And there's a good, it's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. That's a good 8-page article. It's in like an 8-page article on Landline Magazine. talking about everything. It's got everything breaking down. It's got different, I don't know. You know, the way they write this stuff, and they cut it and they paste it and they make, some of the font bigger than the other. And it's like, so what are you trying to tell me? But I want to dive into that too. And like I said, we'll share this. In fact, I'll do it right now here. We got about 2 minutes left. And but it's the comment. Go comment.
Ninety seconds.
There you go. So yeah, don't get to go check out our great sponsors. Trucker Tools is another great sponsor of ours. They're the app you can download on your app store. Those guys are the ones that have the, load planning, load tracking app. You just heard the other day one of our volunteers, Jeff, he picked up a load, and then he got an email. It said, load tracking on this load, download the Trucker Tools app. And so that's how they track it on the Trucker Tools. And then they have a lot of good information over there where you can get actually reward points. And we're diving into some of that stuff too, to see how that goes. I'm gonna look at it. So good deal. So go check it out.
10 seconds.
Trucker Tools, truckertools.com, where you can download their app from your app store. Anywhere you get your apps, you can search it, Trucker Tools, and it'll pop up. And like I said, go download their app and check out all the features they got. You can even track if you don't have the ability, like you're a company driver and you're not the one in charge of booking the freight like that. You can still go in there and you can plan route. You can search different truck stops, parking, Walmarts, maintenance. If you got any, if you need to go find a place to get a tire fixed or whatever, you can do that on Trucker Tools. And there's a lot of little forums on there too, where you can share messages and everything. So check them out, Trucker Tools at truckertools.com. We appreciate all their support. And yeah, so this is it. I got to get to work, and you guys have a great night out there. Like I said, go comment and go to our Facebook page, and you can check out the links to that. We'll also share the link to the YouTube channel, and we'll get that on there too. So go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check us out, Redneckanize.com, and this Redneckanize Radio. We'll see you guys. I won't be here, so I won't be back until Friday. I got an event to go to on Thursday, and of course, Tiff will be filling in on the Women of Redneckanize tomorrow. So, like I said, we'll see you guys, and then next week is Christmas week, basically. So I get Friday off. I don't know about y'all, but get home. Try to get home this week. All right. So you got run this weekend, and then come Monday, work on getting home. Christmas is on Sunday. Christmas Eve is Saturday. So go check it out. And like I said, till then, you guys stay safe, stay successful, keep between the ditches, and we'll see you up and down the road.
Today's truckers have a lot on their minds. Redneckanize was founded by truckers to help truckers and others to handle life on the road better. Check them out at redneckanize.com. When everything goes wrong and the job still has to get done, you got to